Now children, now let us do one problem related to cash flow. So from the following particulars, you are asked to calculate cash flow from operating activity. Here in the question, only operating activity is asked. Okay, so if what is the requirement? Only that you have to do. Okay, so as per the format, you know that the first thing what you have to write it at the top, cash flow from operating activity, because it is only the operating activities which is asked. So heading or title for your solution is cash flow from operating activity. The next, as per the format, is the calculation of A, capital letter A. What was that in the format? Net profit before tax and extraordinary item, and you have to prepare a working note for that. So let us move to the working note. Calculation of net profit before tax and extraordinary item. So what was the first thing you have to do if you remember the format? Surplus, that is profit and loss of closing minus opening. Just look into the question. Here it is given that surplus, that is balance in statement of profit and loss, which is the closing date 2020 and opening date is 2019. So as per the format, closing minus opening. So closing 70,000 minus opening minus 30,000. So you know that in maths, minus minus it will be plus. So let us see what we have to do. 70,000 minus minus it will be plus. So we have to write here 60,000. Adding this to 70,000 plus 60,000, you will get 1,30,000. Now there are certain items which you have to add in as per the format. Which are those items? General reserve, interim dividend, proposed dividend, then provision for tax and extraordinary items. So if you look into the question, you can find out that those out of that 5 items, only general reserve is given in your question. Okay, so you have to go through the question first and then understand that there is only from that 5 items only general reserve is given in this question. So for general reserve you have to take difference of these two. Okay, 1,50,000 minus 1 lakh, so you will get 50,000. So that 50,000 you have to add here. Adding 1,30,000 with 50,000, you will get 1,80,000. That is the net profit before tax and extraordinary item. So your working note is completed. Now take this 1,80,000 to your solution. So net profit before tax and extraordinary item, working note number 1, you got 1,80,000. What next? In B part of your, as per your format, you can see here is the format which we have discussed in earlier class. So add, some items are there to be added. 7 items are there as per the list and 5 items are there which you have to subtract. So you have to by heart this format, and after by hearting this format you can just go through the question and find out if there is any item which you have to which are supposed to be added or subtracted as per that list. So you can see here there is depreciation on machinery given over here. So see here we have machinery here, and machinery's value you can see. Students, you can see that machinery's opening and closing balance, the difference. So in closing balance, in opening you have 5 lakh, and when you in the closing balance it had decreased to 4,60,000. What is the reason of this decrease? That is due to depreciation. So the difference between these amount is 40,000. That difference is due to the depreciation of machinery. Next item is provision for doubtful debt. It is given to you, and the difference between these two you have to take as provision. Next is goodwill. Just you see that goodwill amount is also given. 1 lakh is the closing balance, and in the current year it have decreased to 80,000. So there is a written off of goodwill with 20,000. Difference between these two amount you have to take. That is known as goodwill amortized. Okay, and next is discount on issue of debentures. So discount on issue of debentures, it was in the beginning it was 10,000, and in the next year it is 2020, nothing is there. So that means you have write off that discount. So that 10,000 will be shown over this year. Next is the difference between this is 10,000, that will be shown over here. Next is interest on debentures. So you have to by heart that format, then only you can understand that these items will come in the have to be added. Okay, so interest on debentures. See, debentures is given to you, and that is 3,10,000 and 2,10,000. So on previous year, listen carefully, on the previous year, that is 2019, debenture is 2,10,000. On this 2,10,000 you have to calculate 10%, so you will get 21,000 that you will pay in the current year. Current year is 2,20,000. So interest you have to pay in the current year for the previous year. So 2 lakh on 2,10,000 you calculate 10%, that is the interest on debentures of the last year, which you will pay this year. Okay, so interest on debentures 21,000. So these items will be added and shown in the outer side. Now one items, as per the list there are 5 items, but in this question the item which will come as per this question is investment, interest on investment. See, children, if you look into the question, you can see that investment, that is non-current investment, 10% is the interest rate, and on the same like interest on debentures we did on the previous year. So debentures investment value is 60,000. On 60,000 if you calculate 10%, how you got this 10%? It is given in the question itself, 10%. Okay, look here, 10% given. So that 10% if you calculate, that is the interest on investment which you have to write over here. Okay, that is the item which you have to subtract as per the format. So after subtracting this from the amount which we received earlier, you will get the amount 3,15,000. Okay, so as per the next format, what is the next item? So you got operating profit before working capital changes. Now next is adding and subtracting increase or decrease in current asset and increase or decrease in current liability. So now what you have to do next is look here if there is any current asset or current liability. Trade payable, it is a current liability. Then we have inventories, that is a current asset. Trade receivables, that is a current asset. So there are 3 items which will be shown under current asset and current liability. Now just look trade payables. The previous year you have trade payables as 75,000. This year you have trade payables at 11,75,000. So there is an increase in trade payables. Your liability have increased with 11 lakh. So as per the format, if increase in liability, you have to add it. Okay, you have to by heart that format and you can understand from that. If there is an increase in current liability, then you have to add trade payable with 11 lakh. What about inventories? Inventories in the previous year it was 60,000, and during the current year it came to 2,45,000. So what you understood from this? There is an increase in inventory. Inventory is a current asset and there is increase in it. If inventory is increasing, you have to subtract this as per the format. So inventory is subtracted, you have to take the difference of this amount and you will get 1,85,000. Now trade receivables, as I mentioned earlier, it is also a asset. So from this 10 lakh, if you subtract 21 lakh, you will get increase in trade receivable. That is also have to be subtracted. Write down trade receivables 11 lakh. Okay, so almost all the items is given in the question is done. Now if you move to the format, you can see there is cash generated from operating activity, income tax. These items are not given in this question. Income tax is not given, so we can stop our working here itself. So the final answer what we receive is the cash flow from operating activity, and that is 1,30,000. Okay, so this is how you have to do the problem related to cash flow from operating activity. So you may be asked to calculate operating activity, financing activity, or investing activity alone, or a complete set of all these three activity can be asked. Normally a complete set of all these activities are asked in the exam paper, which we will discuss soon.